Yes, we're continuing our analysis of the two economies. We have gone through some of the GDP growth on the previous chart, and now I would like to continue to discuss the unemployment chart, which to me, obviously, as a socialist, this is more important. Even more important, I mean, it's even more important than the GDP. Maybe I might want to elaborate that further. The reason is GDP growth does not necessarily uh, imply employment, employment bettering or the lowering of unemployment. In fact, a country can grow in terms of GDP uh, without unemployment reducing, as the two must work opposite. The more you build factories, the more you need to hire people to operate those factories, implying that there's less unemployment. But that's not always the case in a capitalist system, because a capitalist system, instead of hiring people to run the factories, it can get better machinery and reuse the same labor, and thereby grow the GDP without actually reducing unemployment. So, as you can see on this chart here, uh, unemployment was bad in Tanzania in 2001 compared to Kenya. But Kenya, as a socialist country, as you can see, did manage to do something about it, to reduce it over the years gradually. Yes, there are point of hiccups, but the overall trend was towards downward unemployment up until we come to 2024, where they've got only 2.6% of unemployment. Whereas Kenya started at 2.8% of unemployment in 1991, but they operated a capitalist economy, which I'm not trying to say Kenya is pure so a capitalist. I will show an example of a pure capitalist country just now, South Africa. Yeah, which how the chart looks. As you continue, the trend was towards more unemployment up until somehow here, 2015, it did shoot up, and I think gradually they're going back to a better trajectory. And I hope they do that uh, to better up their social ills, because inequality, unemployment creates what we call inequality, which is a very bad social ills, which causes unrest in the people. So unemployment is hovering at Kenya at 5.4 and at Tanzania at 2.4. These figures are relatively very nice. In fact, speaking about global average, they're very good. They're not bad at all, honestly. But obviously, we are not yet industrialized as Africans. In fact, in Africa, there is no industrialized country. The so-called better of or more industrialized countries of Africa, I'm going to edit here. Africa. So here you will see something completely terrible. What happens now? You can see even during the 90s, 1991, the time of apartheid, we were hovering at 23% of unemployment. Mind you, that's very important. Remember, the populations of this country are almost the same. But then population is a bit more, about a couple of million, 3 or 5 million people in South Africa to the population. So it's nothing to do with that we have more population. That's not the case. You can see the trend has never changed ever since then. Why? Because we have a government sitting at the driver's wheel, which is just being controlled by the winds of the West. What the West tells you is correct. You must run your government capitalist. Create more capitalists. Create more capitalists, as they say. And this is what happens. Unemployment. And I can show you these figures of huge unemployment like this come with many consequences of crime and all those type of social ills. I will have a special session for South African economy, comparing it with Zimbabwe. That's another video, or maybe we can try to squeeze it in here. What's more important, let us remove the extreme capitalist term. We want to look at, probably let's look at the bar just to summarize. So in the summary format, as you can see, Tanzania is way better in terms of unemployment, but both of the economies, honestly, to the global standard, this is very acceptable. Nothing untoward, but obviously there's room for improvement as far as Kenya is concerned there. But yeah, that's it for this chart. I would like now to add a video on Ujamaa and how the Ujamaa it's out, coming from the horse's mouth, Julius Nyerere, how he explained the policy of Ujamaa.